Time is not arbitrary. We are all bound by the spell of time. Okay. I wish I could tap into some other alternate dimension and slow time, but even if I slow time down in my mind, I'm going to look at the clock and it's going to keep ticking forward. Okay. That being said, I don't place timelines on this in the sense that I don't think guys should be doing it this way, should be doing it that way. Based on my experience, based on many of the most experienced guys in the world that I've met on this subject, not just mystery. I know a lot of other coaches in this realm as well. There are some coaches like you that claim that most women can be pulled within 2 hours or less. I've never heard somebody say the closing ratio that you said. You said that you can get 80 to 90% of women that you approach. I've never heard anybody make that argument. Even some coaches that,
No, what I said was that
mhm.
80 to 90% of the girls that I'm talking to and I have attraction with, I'm going to be pulling within 2 hours. And
Okay,
I even clarified, I said, I have to go over an approach and I build pre-selection up into the club. And I said, obviously, if I approach a girl who's like married with kids, I'm not going to be pulling her. But yes, I do have a
okay,
very
but
high close rate.
that is
On a
not
date,
exactly
it's
what you
literally like
said.
100%.
That's not
Yes.
exactly what I thought you said on the last debate. We can rewind the
We can
tape
go
on
back
that
and
one.
listen to it, but that's what I said.
Okay, fair enough. So now, okay, that puts things in a little bit of a different perspective. But if you remember the guy that asked the question, the guy who purchased the super chat, he said, what are some ways that you believe that you can increase your chances of hooking up on night one? And I said, throw away the timeline. Focus on playing the game properly. Okay, so I am not bound by the timeline at all.
So
And
no,
I
no, but
just
you are because when I asked you, you can change your mind if you want. I asked you if you could wave a magic wand, right? Or what I would argue, if you had the skills, if you could wave a magic wand, would you have sex with a girl earlier than the 4 hour mark? And your answer was no. Your answer was that you'd wait.
My answer was sometimes. My answer was if I'm in the mood, yeah. Yeah, if
So are
I'm in
you
the
telling me
mood and
the
I'm
only
if I'm in the
difference? Are you telling
mood,
me the
all
only
right, let me
difference
let
there is
me
if you're in the mood or not?
let me just clarify. If I wasn't engaged and I was in the mood and I could wave a magic wand and hook up with any girl I wanted within 2 hours or less, and it would be great and there'd be no like any issues from that, whatever, like of course. I do feel like, by the way, that we could nah, never mind. I was gonna say there's a few other topics that we haven't breached here, but that's
Yeah, we
okay.
can do that. It's so okay because last time I asked you this, my impression was you said you'd wait. So it feels like we're on the same page here. Like if we had the skills to be able to, so the only disagreement here is that you just don't think that I've got the skills to do so then.
No, I do. I think that you do probably pull the majority of women that you hook up with. I believe you that a good chunk of those interactions are going to sex quickly. But again, that doesn't necessarily mean that the majority of women are open to that the majority of the time. Therefore, it's not the most optimal style of game to run the majority of the time, and especially for guys that are less experienced. You can get them more experience, you can decrease their burn rate, but again, it, it's yeah, we're kind of spinning in circles here
Yeah,
again.
I
I
feel like
think
we're
that's
spinning in
probably
circles. I like, so my understanding here is if we can hook up with a girl
so.
quickly, we should, right?
Why?
And
Wait, real quick. Why? Why
I thought we
should
just
we?
agreed with that.
I'm just being very specific with your language. We should. Why should we?
Yes, we should because one, if we wait, then she's probably going to feel like we're a little bit too soft. She's probably going to feel like, okay, I'm not getting what I want. Two, it shows that we're very confident in our sexuality. It shows that we're very dominant. Three, it shows a good frame, right? If we wait, she might think this is a relationship type thing. Four, we get to know her on a deeper level. You have sex with a girl, she feels more vulnerable, she feels more attached. This is what the literature says. So you have better retention there. There's many good reasons. Like, do you disagree with this?
Women, look, I said this before. I believe that getting to sex quick is a compelling experience. And I don't want to sit here and splice out all of the different experiences
Okay, so when I
that
said
I've had.
should,
Okay.
do you think they
But
shouldn't? Do you think we shouldn't have sex with the girls early?
I think it depends on what the guy wants and what the woman wants and his and her ability to bridge that gap of what they want.
Okay, so if the girl wants to have sex
Calibration.
early and you want to have sex early, should you do it?
If you are the type of guy that wants to have sex early, then I am a fan of sort of setting sexual frames and being upfront with your intentions to a certain degree Otherwise, the woman is going to feel tricked. You know, if you pretend that you're interested in her for a relationship and really you're just sexualizing things to hook up with her, you're playing like a manipulative backhanded style of game, then no, I think you should sexualize earlier. I think you should be doing it in a calibrated way. I generally believe that sexual subcommunication is more powerful than just telling the woman what you want to do and how you're going to do it, and then just handling objections like a salesperson. I think that there's a more holistic game attraction building style of doing that, as opposed to the linear logical salesman route, you know. But yes, I think if a guy is really sexual and he
Hang on,
wants to
wait.
get, I
When
mean,
you talk,
wait,
when you think of a
Marcus.
really good salesman, when you think of a
Mhm,
really good salesman, do you think
mhm.
he's boring, logical, and one, two, three, or do you think he's very charismatic, builds emotion, understands the person, deals with objections? When you think of a top salesman, right? Jordan Belfort, like top salesman, what do you picture? Do you picture
The
some
best
boring guy
salesmen
or some
don't
emotional
get
guy?
objections. The best way to handle an objection is to not
No,
get it in the
what?
first place.
The best salesmen don't get objections. What are you talking about?
No, no,
All of
no.
sales is about dealing with objections.
Listen,
How is that
listen.
even
No,
a
no,
thing?
certainly, certainly. You're Sid, the best of the best. Okay. The
Yes,
best,
best
let
of the
me
best.
clarify real quick. The
Yeah.
best way to handle an objection is to not get it in the first place. And when you do get objections, certainly there's different ways to handle them. This is again
Hang
something that I
on.
have
No, I'm just want to
deep
make this point really
experience
clear.
with.
Are you
Okay.
saying the best salesmen don't get objections?
No, I'm not saying that. The best sales guys get objections and they get
Okay.
rejections, by the way, as well. They
Okay. And
lose as
so
well. There's a
when you picture
burn
these
rate.
best
Okay.
salesmen, when you picture
Uh-huh.
these best salesmen, do you picture them as like boring, logical, one, two, three, or do you picture them as like very charismatic and emotionally engaging?
So the best salesmen are both. I
Okay.
know great sales guys that are not emotional at all, that just state the facts to the customer. And guess what? There are
Okay. So
certain customers. Let's do this
yep.
analogy real quick, though, okay? Because this is
Okay.
something that I actually have a good amount of experience with as well, okay?
Okay.
There are some customers that don't want your emotions. They don't want the big fucking song and dance. Just give them the facts, let them make a buying decision, okay? And there are some sales guys that are really good at doing that. They're not salesy, but they understand the technicalities of what they're selling very well. Then you have the guys that can sell ice to an Eskimo, right? They can sell anything that just fucking, they know all the sales
Hey,
tactics. They have good, uh, uh,
I am not for sale. Take that back.
I love it. Ice is hilarious, man. But look, you have the sales guys that are really good at uh, generating emotional responses, right? And they sell with emotion, and people buy from them because they like them. They're just so charismatic. They're like just almost backed into a corner with their charisma. That works for certain types of people as well. Some people want to buy from people that they like. They're going to be disappointed if they don't actually get the technicalities of what they wanted as well, right? So I believe the best salespeople can do both.
Yeah, exactly. So when you invoke, I'm like a salesman, I agree. I do both. We build good levels of attraction,
I
we
believe you.
create a lot of emotion, we get objections, and we deal with those. I agree. We're almost like a great salesman.
I
The
said
fact
that. I
that
said that. I believe that you're building attraction. I believe you're doing more than just saying, "Hey, I want to tie you up." Okay, I believe that. I actually believe, Marcus, that you do have a legitimate style of game that you've refined that works very well for you. I've said that many times. You're saying, no, Eric, you don't understand my method. You're saying you understand it, but really you don't get it. You don't get what I'm
no, you
saying. You
might
don't get.
understand it. I'm saying you've never tried or used it, was my argument.
Okay. Okay. All right.
There's a difference there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Clearly, I can just understand what you're talking about conceptually and break it down into super minute detail and relate it to my model and tell you all these different technicalities and nuances. And I've been in this scene for as long as I have, and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I've never used this before. I'm just speaking purely off my imagination. Right.
I mean, have you used this before?
Your exact method.
Yes,
Have
my
I
method.
gone
That's what
in
I keep
and
talking
built a
about. I'm
traction
saying you
and then
haven't
sort
used my
of
method, and
demonstrated
you
it for
keep
you
trying
guys?
to invoke that you have. And so my question is like, have you used my method? Yeah, so that was the question.
I've used probably similar variations to it. I don't know if I've used yours exact. That's why I said if I sat there for an 8 hour seminar with you and I learned the ins and outs of it, I'm sure I would learn a shit ton. And I think you would learn a lot from mine as well. And I would honestly, I would encourage any guy that's listening to this to take your workshop, to train with you, and to learn your method. I think that you have a lot of valuable stuff to teach there. And I believe that, yes, I have probably done variations of your method. that are like 80%, 90% similar to what you're talking about. Coming in, opening indirect, building attraction, at some point demonstrating
Yeah, I
sexual
mean, all that is going to
authority,
be similar. I'm talking about the sexual
being
authority. That's
okay. So
the big
let me
difference.
just clarify. Have I opened indirect, built attraction, demonstrated sexual authority in some way or another, like, either very, talked about my sexual credentials and my background and this and that, proactively, by the way, not just waiting for it to come out of her, but actually striking first and trying to, move that ball forward, build attraction, as you say, or break apart whatever barriers are there to uncover organic attraction. Did whatever I had to get logistics dialed in and make her feel comfortable, lead her back to my place, set sexual frames, have really good macro level, high level sexual frames, and then also micro level sexual frames that I'm the sexual authority and so forth. The mindset, the tactics, the whole timeline of it all. Pulled a girl within a couple hours. Man, I feel shy saying this on camera, but yes, I've had sex within a matter of a few hours, and I've done it more than once, brother.
Um, okay. How do I want to respond to this? If if you're able to do all that, then why don't you just do it consistently?
Because I've found that it's not the most effective style of game,
Okay,
nor
so
does
then
it
my
always,
argument would be
nor
like
wait,
if you're
really
not able to
quick,
do it, yeah.
nor do I always feel the need to have sex within a few hours of meeting a woman.
Okay, so you keep kind of going back to the need to have sex or wanting to have sex.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is that the biggest reason why? Like, is it because you just don't feel horny for the girl in that moment?
No, I mean, I think that, man, how much time you got? This is like there was a time in my life where I was a little bit more like ready to go at a moment's notice. And I was more about like, okay, let's move this forward quickly, right? Back in the mid 2000s, when I first got into game, I started learning the technicalities of game. I had a little bit of a natural background as well. I'm not one of these guys that had zero game and then discovered the community and transformed his life. I'm one of the weirdos that actually had a little bit of a natural background and still got into this game and all of its technicalities. And there was a phase in my life where I was going out and I was experimenting with bolder, more sexual styles of game. I had done that before, even before discovering anything related to game. Okay.
Okay, so I'll just quickly
I'm not going
say,
to get into my
all right,
teen
so
years and so
I'll
forth.
just
Okay.
I'll just quickly say, like, because
Mhm.
I was just trying to understand why. I'll just quickly say, like, if you're not able to like do this consistently, I think it's very different. Like I could say someone could be like, I open indirectly, and I could be like, oh, I do that too. Bro, I see so many coaches talk about opening direct or indirect. Just because you know the subgroup doesn't mean you're doing it well. The amount of guys that say like, "Hey, I thought you were cute and I want to say hi," is the worst open I've ever heard, and they say it in the worst possible way. So you might feel like, "Oh, I've escalated quickly before," or something. I think it's completely different, and I think that's part of the reason why you probably think like escalating is bad early. Um, but yeah, anyway, I think we're sorry. I just want to.
I have done it consistently as well. Okay. I'm not going to get into all the nuances, but I have been able to go out and consistently attract adventurous experiences that are catered just to my liking and my
It's
preferences,
really
not.
hard for, I'm sorry, it's really hard for me to believe. I'm going to be honest. It really hard, like even when you say like I feel shy saying this, I don't think you're going to like consistently be able to like escalate um well early with women if you like feel shy about saying the experiences themselves. Like comments like this, and
This is the part where I could start saying the same to you and saying, I don't
yeah,
really
sure,
know.
I don't mind, you can.
Like, this is the part where I could start pointing out that on the last debate, you said that
Yeah.
if a girl says that it's that time of month for her, you say, "Oh, don't worry, I have towels."
Yeah,
What?
100% I'd do that. Yeah.
That I don't know, man. So can you
What's wrong with
explain that
that?
one to me? Explain that.
Yeah. Wait, what do you want me to explain?
Explain it. So if there's an
So,
objection
okay.
that comes
But
up,
if a
so
girl
first of all,
has,
tell me how that
yeah,
even starts. You say to a woman, "Hey, I want you to come back to my place," and she says, "Sorry, I'm on my period," and then you say, "Don't worry, I have towels." Because you're
yes,
talking about like you think that I'm
exactly how it goes.
demonstrating some inexperience over here. This
Yes.
reminds me of a
The fact
conversation that
you're
I
asking
had.
this question
This
displays an
this
experience.
this reminds me of a conversation that I had with somebody where he was talking a big game, and then he talked about putting condoms in the crack of his bed, in between the mattress and the box spring. And I was like, why don't you just put it in the drawer? Does that sound like something a guy with experience would do? He's going to take condoms and shove them in the crack of his bed. Like, isn't your nightstand just an arm's reach away? So anyway, go ahead and continue and tell
So
me about
we'll
this.
talk about these two things. Why did he say he didn't put it in the nightstand?
It was just, he was giving some advice on a forum, and he said,
Yeah,
one of the
probably
ways
because
you
he
can
didn't
have
have
your
a
place,
nightstand.
he was like, one of the ways you can have your place logistically set up is you can put condoms
Yeah,
in the crack of your
I
mattress.
think
I'm
that's
like,
fine. Yeah, the easy access. I think it's fine. Like I agree. Like I just have a
you don't
nightstand
think
and
that
all of
it's
it.
a little bit more like classy and like just put it in
The
your
best
nightstand,
place
bro?
to
It's
put it is on your penis.